Welcome. We are here for the February, and each month seems to surprise me. We're here for the February edition of Coach Camp. We've got a lot of our OGs and favorite folks here. And just before we hit record, I challenged everybody to share their favorite Olympic moment so far of these Olympic Games. So Chris said he could show us. I'm a little bit interested in how this is going to work. But Erno, you got any favorite moments so far?
Well, I think of course, I'm talking for the Dutch, right? So, and the ice skating, the woman got the first gold medal on the 500 meters. So they've been close a number of Olympics, but this was the first time they got the gold in the 500 meters. So that was a very, very special moment. And in relationship to this victory, there was the 1,000 meters before that, which Utah won and Koch came second. And then on the 500 meters, it was the other way around. And they were such great sportswomen of, supporting each other. I really
Cool.
like that partnerships. Yes.
Yeah. Super cool. Chris, you ready?
Yep. Now, I'm a huge Olympic fan. I love the Olympics for what they stand for and so forth, to the point where when it was in London in 2012, I got 28 tickets for 28 different events. I was,
Wow.
and I took 2 weeks off work and I just went to the Olympics. And the reason I love the Olympics is because in this day and age of sport, it's about the glory. They're starting to change that. They want to pay athletes now, but for all this time in Olympic history, it's all be about the glory. It's not about money. I mean, it's just about being Olympic champion. So of the best turn up and they want to peak at that moment in time, okay, to be the best in the world. And there are some athletes who are you got the elites, because you only turn up the Olympics and win if you're elite, okay? And then you get someone who turns up who's elite over the elites. They leave the elites behind. You think, oh my God, this is, you know, amazing. And there's a Norwegian cross country skier who, I don't know if you've seen it, but he's going up this 20% gradient
Oh wow.
slope in skis. And if you ever see people going uphill in skis, they like ducks, they're waddling, pushing outside. This is what he did.
How fast.
He's just running. Wow. Well, he's got the number one bib. So there you go.
Oh, that's
Dang.
amazing. The speed is amazing.
And if you see his competitors, they're way behind, struggling up this hill, and he just runs up, and he wins by a country mile because you would.
Wow.
And I just love seeing that when you've got the best in the world, and there's one person that just leaves them all behind and goes, "See you at the finish," and you think, and that's why I love the Olympics. Moments like that. That's my best moment of the Winter Olympics at the moment.
Wow.
Very
Nice.
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. And he was going at 10 miles per hour.
Yeah, I
Okay.
saw that.
They
Yeah.
spike it to
In
11 in some cases. Yeah.
yeah, in skis up a 20-degree,
Well, I'd
20%
snap
gradient.
I mean, walking in
I'm
skis is hard enough on
I'm
I'd
not I'm not
snap.
sure I would go 10 miles an hour going back down a 20
Down.
degree
Right.
slope.
Right. Right.
Forget about going up.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he didn't get to the top and then collapse and go, I'm spent. He just carried on.
Wow.
Just,
Wow.
yeah, phenomenal. Anyway, that's my moment.
Scott, what's yours so far?
uh Schifrin, probably
Okay.
Michaela,
Okay.
winning with the age and the comeback and and yet really scored high, huge gap and all of that, and sort of the idea of you can do it, kind of thing. That would probably be mine. That or the gentleman, and I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, who fell. The number one contender in the skating that fell, and that one's kind of more of the, how do you deal with that as an athlete? That moment, and how hard that would be to to have that happen and then,
Right.
continue to be around because everyone's going to ask you that for the next year and a half of, every interaction is going to be, well, how did that feel? It's like kind of, so yeah, moments, but not different.
So I think mine.
I'm not a big Olympic fan, so I just kind of dip in and out of it. I'm not I would not take 2 weeks off work to go to the Olympics.
So mine is the American bobsledder. That's in her 40s, that her kids were there, and she barely, she barely wins, and just the reaction. I think her nanny's there, and she's kind of like telling the real story of what it's like to be a mom and raise kids and try to, try to compete in the Olympics. And I think she says something like 14 days from now, I'll be in the pickup line at school and nobody will have a clue, who I am or what I'm doing or whatever. So I think that one's, I like that the older athletes are still hanging in there. Not everybody's like 12 or 13 or super young. So I'm enjoying seeing the 40-year-olds doing really well. So I find that really, really inspiring.
I
If
think that's
I'm
one way
50,
the
I'm 50,
Olympics have changed now. The age is different than it used to be. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
no, you don't, Scott, go. No.
I think that's one way the Olympics has changed. I see more people older than at least I remember. Now, again, I'm not an Olympic nerd, so maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like it's trending older now than it used to.
Yeah, or we're just getting older, so we just notice it more.
One or the other,
Maybe.
but I
Yeah, we
wasn't,
notice.
I wasn't, I wasn't going to point that out. But
But I think as a 56-year-old man, I can still get a metal tray and slide down an ice, tube and go really fast. Just push me. Just put me on the tray and just push me. I'll get to the end. I'll get to the end, and then I can say I'm Olympian.
did you
That's what I'm talking about.
did you see the interview with who's it, Colin from SNL, where they put him on the bobsled?
I heard
No.
about it. I haven't seen it.
There's an interview with him after he came down the bobsled. They basically put an experienced driver and then just stuck him on the back of the bobsled and said, "Hang on," and then they push started him. So they didn't do the actually get in the bobsled, start. They just push started him and went down the whole slope. And he's off at the end, and his eyes are about that big around, and he's like, "This was literally the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life."
Yeah.
He's like, I felt like I was going to break into a million pieces. I don't understand how people do this. It's like, yeah, dude. It's like, that's what I think. I think the Olympics should have one average, just Joe Schmo in every event, just so we see how elite these people are, just so there's one guy or gal like 4,000 yards behind them going.
No.
Scott, I think curling is the attempt at that.
Okay.
I think curling might be the.
Well, apparently
yes.
pistol shooting too, based on last year's.
No, I believe the Olympics, it shouldn't be a silver or bronze.
Oh,
Just gold.
Okay.
We just want to see the best in the world. And that's the Olympics. We can have other events that allows normal people to go and competing, and that happens all around the world. But for the Olympics,
but the reason I want it is so that people understand how elite these people are. Because I've seen people watch the Olympics and be like, "Oh, I could do that." It's like, no, you could.
But they can go and do that stuff without going to the Olympics. That stuff isn't just done at the Olympics. Right. It's done, and the Olympics is the pinnacle. I wouldn't even give silver or bronze. It's just about winning. Who's the best of the best? And that's it. I've seen in the Winter Olympics and also in the Summer Olympics in Paris, people who are coming like 19th or 20th are running around with flags and celebrating. No. We've got the winner. Let them do the lap of honor. That's what it's all about. But it's now becoming, well, I've competed, therefore I should celebrate just as hard. And you go, no, I won't have that. I told you I was an Olympic fan. I just want to see the best of the best.
And I can hear it. You're determining the rules as well.
No, the rules are you go to the Olympics to be the champion. That's it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And if we were like competing against an alien planet, of aliens. We'd want to send the best of the best, wouldn't we? We wouldn't send number 19. We'd just send the number one against their number one. Go with that.
All
Yeah.
right. I love it. Thank y'all for humoring me on the
So
Olympics
Chris wants to
edition.
use the Olympics as a selection of who we send to fight the aliens. Okay, got it.
Correct.
Well, at the rate,
Sorry, Kendra, go
at the rate
back.
we're going, that's not too far fetched. I'm just saying.
I agree. I
At
agree.
at
Yeah.
the rate we're going, Hunger Games may very well come
And
to
I'm not
fruition.
saying that the Olympics should be the Hunger Games and people kill each other to see who's the best. That's why we had the Olympics, because we used to have
Right.
gladiators and things like that, and we stopped doing that. I'm not saying number 19 then goes off and gets, put down or anything. Just
Nice.
don't run around with a flag. That's all.
All right. We gotta pick more topics for Chris and Erno to debate. I think we gotta plan this ahead of time and sell tickets. This could get fun. This would be good.
Hunger Games, pro or con?
Corey, good morning. We were just sharing
Having fun.
we were having a little icebreaker with our favorite
I like the pun. Like the pun. That was good.
Olympic moment so far.
Okay.
So if you've got one, go for it. If not, we'll keep rolling.
I really don't. I'm not impressed with the Olympics so far, I have to say, or maybe it's just that I haven't been catching it at the right time. It's a problem.
Well, we're all over the map here. We have Chris, who's very passionate, Erno and I in the middle, and Scott in the.
I received a little bit of feedback from
I'm
viewer.
barely aware that it's that
Right.
it's going on. So we got the
That's,
whole
yeah, I
spectrum
think I'm
covered.
there too. Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad I was able to join. I didn't mean to interrupt the fun.
So just on that, Corey, this is all you need to see in the Olympics.
And I did see that.
That's all you need to see. Yeah.
I don't really get it. Every time I turned on the TV, it was skiing and it looked like cross country, and I don't know what I was watching, but yeah. Okay.
That clip does need some context, Chris, I think. Until you realize
Okay.
he's going uphill. Well, I
He's
don't
20% incline going at 11 miles per hour in skis. That's just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I have two topics that I would love to get the crew's feedback on, and Corey, I think a couple of these will be relevant, but we can also talk about other things. And I'll preview and we can take them in any order. The first topic is, I get emails from people that are thinking about becoming a coach, or let's say they get the basic Explorer Coach membership and they're like, okay, I want to get clients. What do I do next? And I have some resources that we send them to, but I'm curious for each of the three experienced coaches here, if you had a 2-minute recommendation for somebody, and I get the impression these are folks brand new to coaching, not necessarily brand new to Coachdotme, but brand new to coaching in general, that have found the platform and they're like, I want to get clients. I'm just curious how the three of y'all, what advice you would give, or kind of sequencing order of operations in there. So I'd love to kind of get some clips on that from y'all. And then the second topic is just the onboarding. We've launched version 1. We're working on the steps of version 2, where we introduce folks to coaching much earlier in the process. And I would love if anybody's tried out the onboarding and has any thoughts on specifically the path that we introduce coaching to. So any takers on either of those topics?
All
Chris,
right, I'll jump in.
All right, I love it.
I'm not jumping at the bits. It's just that, as you probably know, I don't like silence, so I need to fill the silence. I think with the getting clients, I've been doing it for so long that I don't really know what it like not to have clients, to start from that level, so I probably can't really give too much help on that because a lot of my new clients come via word of mouth. So it's just kind of it's gone on. And because my coaching is health coaching and that I'm in the kind of health environment. So say a gym, I can just go out on the gym floor and engage with people and stuff like that. Since having my own place, that doesn't happen anymore. But that's how I started. I just got out and got to know as many people as possible, and they got to know me and go from there. As the years have gone on, things have changed, and it's more online marketing and social media and stuff like that. But I haven't for many years having to start from zero and
Fair enough.
start from that. So I really, I know the things that work for me, but I think it's different when you're looking for one or two clients a month to fill up to take place with clients who've moved on. Then if suddenly I had no clients, I'd probably go, huh, what do I do now? Can I have that patience of one or two clients a month, and then after a year have 1 to 20, 12 to 24 clients,
Right.
things like that. So would I be more proactive in finding clients than I am currently? Yeah, definitely. If I want to put food on the table, or would I go and get another job while I'm looking for clients?
I like that perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, well, you specifically mentioned that they are not having a lot of experience in coaching. So I think the one thing that did a lot for me was a GCC. Is was taking a course in relationship to coach on habits, which is kind of like specific. And so you learn about coaching on habits, and you learn about marketing yourself. I do coach people who are coaches who want to get clients. And what I most of the time start with is just ignite your network, right? So send messages or talk to anybody you can that you know in your network. Set up meetings, have a conversation with them for about an hour to learn what they're doing, what they're struggling with, what's going on in the world, and then talk a little bit about what you do, like 5 minutes, and ask if they know anybody who needs this. And what often happens if you do have like 100 of these conversations, you have like one or two clients coming from that, just from your network specifically, and hopefully like one or two names from people that they know that probably need you. Of course, you would need then also a great description of what you do. That you have like these are the clients I want to serve. This is what I do for them. That you be very clear on that message instead of just babbling on. But that's what I do with them. I start with so who do you want to coach? What is it you're coaching for? So how do we get a message? And then we start calling these people and getting like appointments. And then it's a matter of just having a lot of conversation, because what we've taught on the internet online world is, oh, you have to have a website. You might maybe have a podcast. You build an email list. Then you send out like monthly emails or even weekly emails. And then hopefully at someday the first clients will like magically come in, and it takes forever, and you have no clue what you're doing incorrect or what's working and not working. And because it goes like you send an email and goes like into this black box, and nobody's answering or replying, and maybe someone does. And if you have a conversation like face to face with someone, they give you a response. They tell you, oh, that's interesting. Or they go like, I don't know if I need that. So you know exactly, oh, I need to change something about messaging. I can twist a word here or change a sentence there, or just say I work for these people. And these interactions is a lot faster than trying to build something online. Of course, I'm saying this like Scott, we have like a podcast, we have a website, we do send emails like Chris. We do all that stuff, but it's next to the moment when you have the first client, so that you're building from a base and you can go there.
I love that you're talking about sequencing, because I think I mean, everything on the menu makes sense at different times, perhaps. But I love that you're talking about, don't try to do everything at once. Just start with the conversations, because they may shape what you decide to do later. I love, love, love that. Scott, you're nodding along. What other advice would you offer to folks starting out?
Yeah, I agree really strongly with Erno. the I think start with figuring out who do you want to serve and how do you want to serve them, and you do that by just almost a shotgun. You know, I call it friends and family, right? Circle of a circle. You talk to the people you already know, like, and trust. You're excited. You run your idea by them. You get feedback. You learn. Probably a lot of times you can pick up a client or two that way, even if they're, you know, a beta client or a friend or somebody. You know, a lot of times your friends and family just kind of get excited because you're excited and go, you know, yeah, I'll do that, you know, kind of thing. And what are we doing? You know, they don't even know yet. They're just excited because you're excited. And so you can do that to begin the practice and refining. Then the next stage is you can be a little bit more targeted in now you've learned more about who you like to serve and how you like to serve them, and you've crafted your message a little better. And now you can start widening that conversation and start talking to referral partners, talking online, talking what other places. So I always try to confuse or kind of split apart the message from the medium. And what I mean by that is we see a lot of times like, oh, Erno has a podcast and he's getting clients through his podcast, so I have to have a podcast. Oh, Chris is getting clients on Instagram, so I have to go on Instagram. Oh, look, this, you know, we see everybody doing all these different things, and so we feel like you have to do everything, when in reality, that's usually not what's really happening. That's just what it feels like is happening. So you can start being more strategic about, oh, the kind of people I like to serve hang out here. They talk to these kinds of people. They, you know, oh, I want to serve moms. Well, they're hanging out in moms groups. So I want to serve whatever. Where are they at? But you don't know that until you know who you want to serve. So you almost have to start with a shotgun and then narrow it down, you know, as you go. And then it becomes more strategic and, quite frankly, easier, but you can't start there. That's the second phase, not the first phase, or sometimes even the third or the fourth phase, depending on your experience.
Love it. And Erno, thank you for mentioning HCC and GCC, the group coaching. You know, we've really tried to refine those programs so that they're a lot of return on time, money, and attention invested. You know, that they're really, I don't want to say bare minimum, but you give it 2 or 3 hours a week for 8 weeks, and we feel like you're going to tick the boxes on all of those key areas. And Corey actually did a compressed one in 4, you know, in the kind of the first 4 weeks of that. But I hear from folks sometimes. I had an email this morning that said, well, I've taken so many courses, I'm kind of done with courses. And I thought, well, I get it. I mean, I feel that way on some days as well. But you know, I think really looking for programs that match um your goals and needs, right? And being really selective in that. And we've certainly worked, if you're interested in coaching on habits and coaching on the platform, we've really worked to provide a training program that
Well, there's two things there. One is making sure that you're actually taking a program that's filling a gap that you have, because a lot of times people just take programs to take programs. And B is, are you taking programs or are you actually putting it into action? Because
right.
Again, if you take HCC and then you sit at home and go,
well, you actually can't pass HCC. You can't get certified without taking
without
action.
doing work. That's
Yeah,
why
the
it's
taking
designed
the
that
action
way.
is it. Right.
You know,
right.
I'm saying that's my point, is the reason that HCC is designed that way is because there are so many. When people say I'm tired of taking classes, a lot of times it's like, yes, but is all you've been doing taking classes, or have you been putting those classes into practice? And there's a lot of coursework out there where people just take a course and then passively sit back and go, well, it didn't fix anything. It's like, well, yeah, you didn't do anything. You still got to actually do something. Go ahead, Chris.
I from my experience in the fitness industry, there is a tendency to be thinking you need to know more as a tool to sell yourself. So I'm qualified in da, 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 da. And I remember an incident over 20 years ago now. I was managing the personal trainers at this gym. There's probably about a dozen of us, and I was put in charge of them and to help them with their businesses and stuff like that. And there's one gentleman who was very qualified. He knew his stuff. You listen to him and go, oh, okay, you know the science behind it, you know the ins and outs of exercise, you're really good. But he was struggling with only 5 or 6 clients when this female trainer who wasn't as qualified was around, 20 to 25 sessions a week. And I remember him saying to me in the office, why has she got more clients than me? I know more than her. And I said, follow me. And we walked out on the gym floor and I said, just watch her. And she went around and she engaged with people. She just came to their level and spoke to them, and they warmed to her. They kind of felt that she understood them, and they wanted to work with her. Where he went in with knowledge and people nodding their head, but they were like, I'm more confused than when before you came and spoke to me. So I think a good skill to learn is how to talk to people, how to engage with people. As you can know so much about how to coach people, but if you don't know how to engage with people, then you'll never be able to use your skills and talents anyway. So I think that's kind of sometimes missing. Go and do I don't know, an acting class or something that teaches you how to engage, how to communicate effectively. And that's what helped me a long time ago, where I went and did, qualifications on how to communicate. And I usually now only give people 10% of what I know, because that's all they need to know. So that's one thing I'd say to new coaches. You're already overqualified for the people you want working for anyway. Don't get more qualified. If you want more knowledge, great, but don't think that's going to get you more clients.
Good stuff. All right. Anything, Corey, any thoughts, questions on this topic?
Well, considering that I'm pretty new to coaching, I can't really give advice on how to grow your business. I think it's very helpful, the tips I'm hearing. I also question if the population that I am targeting is not the smartest choice of a population, because the issues that I have. So my current career in college planning is finite. Every year you need a new crop of clients. Now I'm looking to coaching college students, with the transition. And again, it's finite. So the possibility of having long-term relationships really isn't there. I need to really concentrate on it, because it's more of a side thing. I might not be giving it the attention I should, but it's what I hope to do more and more of. So I do know what I need to do. I just, need to carve out the time to do it. It's what I like and what I'm good at, but I don't think it's sustainable. So I think I need to broaden it.
That's great.
Deep. I know that's deep, right?
Yeah,
That's not what you were
I
looking
think it's
for,
great.
right?
I think that's real. I mean, I think it's real, and I love that this group can bring together, folks that have been coaching a long time, as well as new folks. I'm curious if anybody else has any thoughts on what she expressed about her target audience, um, you know, and perhaps not feeling great about that selection of target audience. I'm curious if anybody else has thoughts on that particular aspect.
Well,
Let's hear it.
yeah. So to be transparent, I often doubt the selection of the clients I work with. I often doubt what I do. Can I sharpen it? Can I make it more clear? Can I change? Do I do enough in the work that I really want to do? So for example, I really want to work on equity, so equal opportunities for people and inequality. And how do I do this with entrepreneurs? How do I combine these topics to make it clear that this is what I'm really focused on? And taking into account what are the challenges that these entrepreneurs are working with, and am I working with the right entrepreneurs that really want to work on this topic? So I do have a lot of doubt on these issues, like every half a year or so. So it's a very normal thing for me to have doubts on this. Yeah, and I do continue. I sharpen the message. I change the message a bit. I stick with the habits. I stick with inner development. I stick with decision making. That's some of the pillars I work with. But then the messaging changes a bit. And I try to see, oh, does this work for me? Yes or no? Does it attract the right people? Yes or no?
I think too, there's two kind of things that I would challenge, I guess, in your thinking. And I don't mean that in a negative way. But before people shift their audience, I kind of have two questions usually. One is, are you just shifting your audience because of you think money, desire, that they can't pay me, they can't do this, they can't do that, it's all the things that group can't do? Or are you shifting it because you're more passionate and connected to a different group? So one shift is I'm going away from things, and the other is I'm going towards things. And if all you're doing is going away, shifting's not going to change anything. Because every group that's out there, there's something about them that's challenging. You know what I mean? I don't care who they are. You will discover that there are objections, there are challenges, there are bumps, there are, oh, this group will never work because, I'm really passionate about homeless people, but I can't serve them because of XYZ. There is a coach out there serving homeless people and being very successful doing it. Okay. I can actually introduce you to them. That kind of thing. There's people that limit the group, and that's you limiting the group, not the group limiting the group. Does that make sense? So I would never change my avatar, my group, without a reason to change it that isn't just going away from something. This is why I can't do this group. And I heard you say, there's I can't build long-term relationships. Why not? Maybe it looks different than it does for Chris, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. So it's when you say I can't do whatever, it's like my immediate knee-jerk reaction is, why not? Figure out a way to do that. You may have to get creative. It may be lateral thinking. It may be something weird, but so, and then the second part is what I just said, the stay with a group. If you're passionate about this group and this is who you want to serve, figure it out. Don't move away, because you will stick to it longer and have more success if you figure it out than if you just move away.
I like that advice.
Thank
you.
Just following on from what Scott said, I think there's two things in there. As coaches, we're there to help people solve problems. So there's always problems out there that need solving. But also as a coach, what problem do you enjoy trying to solve? Because if you go, oh, there's a big market for, X, I can get long-term clients in there and get good money. But if every day you're doing something you're not enjoying, then you're only in it for a short term. I really enjoy what I do, and I can help people solve that problem through something I enjoy doing. Then I really like that. Now, as Scott said, how do you make that into a business? That's the fun bit, the challenging bit. But if you start with this is what I enjoy doing, now it might be I really enjoy helping people solve the problem of, I don't know, too many leaves in the back garden. Now that's only going to happen in autumn. You know what I mean? So there is an element of is the thing I want to solve really a business? Is there enough people out there wanting that problem solved. But as Scott said, with homeless people, there's something, and if you're really passionate about it, go for it. And these college students, Corey, maybe they need help after college, and you built that relationship, and they might need help getting into the workforce, or stuff like that. Be the person that goes, you know what, that person really understood me and helped me with my problem. I'm going to go back to that person and go, look, I've got this problem. Can you help?
Well, and I encourage coaches to think, and Chris was actually just doing it, think psychometrics, not demographics. And so what I mean by that is, demographics are things like age, sex, they're facts. I want to work with women. I want to work with young adults. I want to work with college students. That's all demographic information. What you're doing, though, is solving a problem, like Chris just said. So what problem are you solving, and what is the mindset or the thought or the symptom that people are expressing? And what you'll discover a lot of times is that problem doesn't actually just belong to college students. The problem is the psychometrics is bigger a lot of times than just a demographic slice. Now, that doesn't mean you can't also slice by demographics. You could do both, but focus first on the problem. And a lot of times you'll discover, oh, wait, this is actually broader than I thought, because what are you, helping a young person launch is not just a college age problem, as an example, that can happen at 40.
But if we're talking about habit coaching, okay, that's kind of
that's lifelong.
Yeah, but so I'm accountability coach to people. That's what I promote myself as. I'll help you stay accountable to what you say you're going to do. That's basically my superpower. I can help you stick to it. And that happens to be in health and fitness because that's the thing I enjoy talking about. But I could apply that to anyone who came to me with any habit. The same thing applies, doesn't it? This is how you stick to a habit. This is how I can help you stick to a habit. I just happen to be in the health and fitness side of things. So I attract people who have got a habit that's to do with health and fitness. So therefore, I enjoy that. If you started talking to me about financial habits, yeah, I could apply the same logic to a financial habit, but it wouldn't rock my boat. It'd be like, all right, sorry, Scott, but
no, it's okay. Just send them on over.
Yeah.
I'll talk to them. I'll work with them.
So
that's what referrals are for.
Yeah, and I think I want to throw put a pin in that too, that being a part of a coaching community has tremendous value, because then you don't feel like you have to master everything, right? Corey, if you have a college student that you're working with, and I'll use the lens of leaders, which is what I mostly coach, and through the lens of a weekly review. I would say most of my clients, what I hold them accountable to is every week doing some sort of a weekly review where they look at the previous week and gain whatever insights they can from that, and then we look ahead to the upcoming week and make proactive adjustments or decisions as best we can. I think you could boil down 80 to 90% of my leadership coaching to that one weekly habit. And if I have come across a leader that's like, man, I really need to dial in my health, I can just, in many cases, they're not going to stop working with me. Sometimes they will, but Chris and I actually have a mutual client right now that I coach on the executive side, and he coaches on the fitness side, right? So he's dialed in on the fitness. So also being I don't know if I made that referral or he found him by himself anyway. But I think being the person that can help your client.
Concierge.
Yeah, exactly. Connect to, okay, well, I need to get my finances in order. Do I need to do that, or do I refer them to Scott and let them go work with Scott to get their finances in order? So I think having a whole, when we're when we're coaching folks, and Chris, I think leaders are kind of like students in that they might have needs in um, a variety of areas. We're kind of just coaching on intentionality. Like, are you at the steering wheel of life constantly, driving the car of your life, or are you just letting life kind of happen to you, sort of a thing. And so it, there is, I think, a room to help to help students start to identify what it is they need and learn to seek out resources to get, to get that support. So that might be I see some parallels in
Right.
the folks that I coach and students as well.
There's value in being a concierge, being the person that, so I do that as a financial coach. Like, I don't do taxes, but I know a lot of people who do, and I know a lot of people that specialize, and you run into a particular problem and it's like, oh, you know, oh, you haven't filed taxes for 5 years. I actually know somebody who helps people with that. Let me introduce you, and guess what? You're now a hero, and they stick around because it's like, oh, Corey helps me not just with this, but she also can connect me to people that help me with all these other people. It's like you're the quarterback, not the you're not the one solving all their problems, but you are the one helping them solve the problems, and a lot of times helping them become aware of the fact that,
Right.
like, again, like, I'm actually thinking of a real client situation where, as we worked and coached and I discovered they haven't filed taxes for 5 years. And it's like, oh, that's a bigger problem than you think. We need to put some attention to that. This is not a, not filing is criminal. Not paying is not, it's like, so let's fix this, but and I'm not the one that can fix the actual problem, but I am the one that can help hold them accountable and encourage them and introduce them and make sure that they were taking action. And, so that's every bit as valuable. And yeah, every once in a while I introduce somebody to somebody and they go over to that person instead of me, but that's actually pretty rare. And usually it's when I told them to, frankly, it's usually when I went, you really need to do this first and then come back to me, because this is a bigger problem for you. Yeah.
Well, Corey, thanks for sharing. I think you're, hearing it from somebody starting. I think if anybody's watching this replay, I'm going to send it to a handful of folks. I think your questions and your approach are really valid, and I love the answers that folks shared. But I think um, us being transparent at Coachdotme and as a platform that we're here to support coaches that are building for the long term. We're not designed for the kind of make a quick buck and move on to the next thing trend. I would say I would say the folks that are looking for a quick win and move on aren't going to find our platform particularly conducive to that, and that's intentional. That we're looking, we've existed for more than a decade, and we're looking to exist for decades more, not a um, not a churn and burn, kind of a thing. So I don't know. I'm not saying that for anybody here, but I think as I think about whether folks are deciding whether we're a good platform for them, are you feeling like this is an area of work that you want to do for a decade? If so, we're probably a great fit. If you're, or even if you want to test it out, I think we're a great fit. But uh, for the folks that have more, I want to start a company and cash out in 6 months, we're probably not the platform
Right.
for that.
Well,
All
thank you,
right.
everyone. I did appreciate that.
Thank you, Corey.
Good group. Okay, so onboarding, I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to leave it as a challenge. We launched version 1 of onboarding on the web last Friday. I think we'll launch it on Android by this by this Friday. So if you have the Android app, it should be live by this Friday. There's just a little bit of differences. And then iOS app, maybe the following Friday or the one after that. It's a little bit trickier to deploy.
iOS is
Um,
always harder.
yeah. And so just so everybody's clear, kind of the sequence of operations is get the infrastructure and the functionality built, get our metrics turned on, start getting feedback, and then as we're seeing what's working, um, putting things in order. So right now, I have a specific question for everybody in this room that I'd love for you to email me an answer with later, and anybody watching the video. Right now, we have a video at the start of the onboarding, and I'm wondering if that's too much too soon, that we should start with quicker wins, let people experience it, do things, and then have the video more like, hey, here's what you just did and here's why it matters, as opposed to the video first. So if anybody's got time over the next few days to go through the onboarding, so when you're right now, it's only on the web. So I'm going to show screen real quick. It's only on the web, and you get to it from this question mark right here. So if you click on the question mark and you can take the tour, new users will get it right out of the gate. But if you've already visited the site before, you'll have to click on the question mark and go take the tour. And my specific question for you is, do you like the video in the beginning? Is it too long, too short? What's your feedback? Or should we skip the video, get right into the doing the things, and let the video come later? So for the folks that we see on our masterminds, and Corey, you're invited. We do this mastermind 9 a.m. every Wednesday. This one is the public version, but we have we do the private one the other weeks of the month. So for the folks that normally attend that, I'd love your feedback next Wednesday. Or if you have really strong feelings about it, welcome to email me and let me know your thoughts sooner. But we've found that the best clients, the best long-term clients, are folks that understand the power of habit science, understand the power of consistency, that they too are not expecting a coach to have a magic wand and change their life in a week. That folks that understand that the consistency, the dance kind of is the thing, and so the more that we can educate and guide our new users to understand that process, and then shepherd them to connect with coaches that can deliver that and help them keep going, we feel like that's the biggest value we can offer as a platform. And we are getting thousands of new users a month. For whatever reason, AI is absolutely our friend when it comes to referrals. We are getting, and there's books out there now. There is something to be said for just staying standing. I got an email the other day that said, I was reading a book and they mentioned 5 habit trackers, and you're the only one that still exists. So I'm going with you. And I'm like, all right, I love it. I love it. So there's something to be said for staying power. So, but AI right now, I would say 8 out of 10 when we get the coach match conversations are coming from, I asked my AI where to go to get a coach, and they said you. So our platform is getting quite a bit of that. And so we want to be good stewards of that interest and that attention, and deliver clients that we think understand what kind of coaching they're going to get and value it in there. So that's what we're really looking to do with the onboarding guide, is a major step in that direction. Once we get it maybe to version 2 or version 3 in the next month or so, the next feature is going to be coach content. And Chris has been championing this for a while. So it's going to come March, April is going to be the coach content time frame. And that's where I'll share screen, because I feel like we've got this scoped out now. that I feel good about it. So let's say one of your habits is health and fitness or exercise. Right now you get a discussion board here. What we're going to add is going to be content from coaches in this section here, this real estate here. So the discussion will slide down and you'll have content from coaches here. So again, your content will be reaching people that have already added that habit to their dashboard, or they're researching that habit. They know they're interested in that habit. Clearly we're going to start with the coaches that are the most active, because when we are the most aligned, because when we launch it, we'll have to launch without a ton of guardrails, and then and kind of have our manual guardrails, and then as we move through it, we'll automate those guardrails a bit to be able to include other coaches. But this feature is coming. It'll be here before summertime. And so if folks are interested, I'd say get involved. We've got tons of masterminds. We've got tons of these. There's lots of opportunity for coaches to get involved. But this real estate here is where coach content will be going. It's a little formatted a little differently in the apps than it is on the web, but conceptually the same. So that if folks are interested in a habit, they're getting really relevant content from coaches in that habit.
Hey, look, I checked in on set priorities for your day.
There you go. I like it. I like it. I like it. And okay, so let's talk about that.
Use the app.
Yes. Like, now that we're really into the data, the most successful coaches use the app. Clients are looking for people that use they're going, I mean, once we educate people on the power of habits, they want to see, is their coach doing the thing? Is their coach paying attention to their own habits? And there you go, Chris. I love it. I love it. I love it. So when we educate our clients, they're looking for that. And you can coach better when you're familiar with it.
And again, that's part of the reason we added the onboarding, is because, like, for instance, I have a client who's been working with me for a month, and I just now found out that they didn't know how to check in on the goal. And it's like, oh, well, you do it this way. And now they're checking in. It's like, yay. But
yeah,
it took me a while to realize, because I was trying to figure out why I wasn't seeing it. So I had to ask them. I'm like, are you doing that? No. Oh, well, yeah, click that. Oh, wow, it turned screen. Yeah. Some visual feedback. Yay.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well,
that goes back to the onboarding. That's why we're adding the onboarding, because we're finding out that there's some gaps for users.
So thank you all for being here. Thanks for the great conversation. I think this is a really relevant one. Hopefully everybody got value that was here, and I think a great one for us to share with other folks.
Thank you.
Good. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Enjoy the Olympics.
Yeah.
Chris will.
Only the best of the best, though. I'm not worried about I'm not worried about 19.
He's shooting them if they don't come in first. It's only first or nothing. It's like
only if they start celebrating.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. See y'all later.
Bye.
See you guys.